You walked into the grocery store looking for a healthy staple. You walked out carrying one of the most common hiding places for a known carcinogen in the American diet. Years of testing by the FDA and independent consumer groups uncovered something the rice aisle never mentions on the label: inorganic arsenic in rice. It's classified in the same cancer-causing category as tobacco smoke, and exposure levels can vary dramatically from one bag to the next. Same store, same shelf, same price, yet one bag may contain several times more arsenic than the one sitting right beside it. And nothing on the package tells you which is safer. Think about that for a moment. Rice absorbs arsenic from soil and water more efficiently than almost any other crop because it is grown in flooded fields. And the healthy choice many families switched to years ago, brown rice, often turns out to be one of the highest sources. By the end of this video, you'll understand 4 critical terms the food industry rarely explains: inorganic arsenic, cotton belt soil, the bran trap, and the simple cooking method called parboil and drain. Once you learn these 4 concepts, you'll never look at the rice aisle the same way again. Subscribe now because your grocery cart deserves information the label is not giving you. We're counting down from number 7 to the biggest offender of all. And there's a very good chance the number 1 rice is sitting in your kitchen right now. Number 7, cheap store brand long grain rice. You buy the lowest price store brand rice because the cost per pound looks right for your household. Careful shopper, practical parent. Smart retiree, that is the appeal. But here is the catch. Many bargain private label bags are built for one purpose: to land at the cheapest price on the shelf. To make that happen, the rice may be blended from whatever surplus lots were available at the lowest cost that season. Different varieties, different crop years, different growing regions, all poured into one bag. Here's what that means in your kitchen. You rinse the rice, measure the water the way you always have. And 20 minutes later, part of the pot turns sticky and soft while another part still tastes firm and dry. You blame the pan, the burner, or yourself. But you may not have done anything wrong. The bag may contain several types of rice that do not cook the same way. And when the package does not clearly state where it was grown, you have no simple way to know whether any of it came from soil with higher arsenic levels. So why leave it on the shelf? Because it can be a low-cost blend of mystery lots with no clear origin to check, which means no easy way to avoid the regions you may want to be more careful with. Those uneven grains can also cook poorly again and again. But if you think the ready-made flavored pouch is a better shortcut, number 6 may be sitting in your pantry right now without anyone reading the back label. Number 6, instant and pre-seasoned rice packets. You buy the flavored pouch because it is quick, inexpensive, and the family eats it without complaining. That is the appeal. But here is the catch. Many of these packets are less about whole grain quality and more about delivering flavor fast. The rice is often small, broken, quick cooking pieces. The taste comes from a long list of sodium, flavorings, anti-caking ingredients, and added oils. It is all printed on the back. The problem is that most shoppers only look at the front. Here is what that means at dinner. You think you served a simple side of rice, but one serving may bring a large share of the sodium many older adults are trying to watch, especially if blood pressure is already a concern. And you may be paying more for lower grade rice because it is wrapped in convenience and seasoning. Why skip it? You are often paying extra for broken, quick cooking grain with a salty seasoning mix that can make it harder to manage a heart-healthy diet, especially when it becomes a regular habit. But if loose rice from the bulk bin seems like the natural old-fashioned choice. Number 5 has a problem most shoppers never notice. Number 5, open bulk bin rice. You scoop from the bin because it feels simple and honest. No fancy package, no bright marketing. Just pay for what you need. That is the trap. But here is the reality. That open bin sits under store lights while air, moisture, and repeated scoops move through it all day. And here is what most people never ask. How long has that rice been sitting there? It may be fresh, or it may have been topped off again and again, with older grains staying at the bottom. So the oldest rice may never fully leave the bin. Milled rice can still carry small amounts of natural surface oil. And when it is exposed to air for too long, the quality can fade and the taste can turn stale. Bulk bins can also attract pantry pests if storage and rotation are not carefully managed. Tiny insects do not always come from your kitchen. Sometimes they arrive with grain and show up later in a warm pantry. Here is what that means at home. You cook the rice and notice a flat, dull, cardboard-like flavor you cannot quite explain. That may be old oxidized grain. The natural oils have changed, and seasoning does not always cover it. And just like the bargain bag, there is usually no clear growing origin. So you are left guessing about one of the most important details. There is one more issue. If a sealed bag is ever part of a food recall, the package usually has a lot code. A scoop from a shared bin gives you none of that. You cannot trace it easily, and neither can the store. Why skip it? Open air can slowly weaken freshness and flavor. The bin can collect dust and raise pest concerns if it is not well maintained. There is usually no origin listed and no package code to check if a safety problem ever comes up. But if you think paying more for a fancy aromatic rice means you automatically bought the real thing, Number 4 may be the most expensive fragrance in the rice aisle. Number 4, low-cost premium basmati and jasmine blends. You pay extra for the bag that promises fragrant restaurant-style basmati or jasmine rice. You feel like you made an upgrade. That is exactly what the package wants you to believe. Here is the catch. Real basmati and jasmine get their warm popcorn-like aroma from natural compounds the rice plant produces. True basmati is also often aged before it reaches the store. That aging helps dry the grain, deepen the aroma, and create those long separate grains people expect from a better rice. It takes time. It adds cost. And it is one of the first things a cheap, premium-looking bag may avoid. Some supermarket bags that use those premium words are not as pure as they appear. They may be blended with younger rice or ordinary non-aromatic grains, then sold with elegant packaging and a strong first smell that makes the shopper believe the quality is higher than it is. Here is what that means at dinner. The rice smells wonderful the moment you open the bag, and you think you made the right choice. Then it cooks up soft, sticky, and flat. The long, fluffy grains you expected never really appear, and the aroma fades once the heat and water do their work. In a true aromatic rice, the scent is part of the grain itself. In a weaker blend, much of the appeal may disappear before it reaches the plate. When you add up the cost, it hurts even more. You paid a premium price per pound for a bag that may be partly ordinary filler rice. Why skip it? Because some bags sell the idea of premium rice more than the rice itself. You may be paying extra for a beautiful package and a quick smell instead of the quality you thought you were buying. But if your protection against all of this is the word organic. Number 3 is the label. The whole aisle is hoping you trust without asking another question. Number 3, organic rice you assume is low in arsenic. You buy organic because you want to limit certain synthetic chemicals for your family. You pay more because it feels safer. That is the appeal. And it may be the smartest trap in the aisle. Here is the truth, and many shoppers never hear it explained clearly. Organic certification mainly deals with how the crop is grown, including rules around synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. Arsenic is different. It is not something the farmer adds for flavor or sprays on top. It is a naturally occurring element that can already be present in soil and water, and rice plants can absorb it through their roots. The roots do not know whether the field is organic or conventional. If arsenic is present in the soil or water, the plant can take it up either way. Organic rules were not designed to remove that problem. And the word organic does not automatically mean lower arsenic. That is the distinction many people miss when they are trying to buy the safest bag. One green label on the front can make a shopper relax. The package counts on your eyes going straight to that badge and assuming it covers every concern you have. The difficult part is that organic rice often costs more. So it is easy to believe the higher price also means the lowest risk. But that is not always true. You may have bought rice certified for one set of farming practices, not rice guaranteed to avoid the arsenic concern you were trying to reduce. Why skip it as your arsenic plan? Because organic farming and arsenic levels are not the same issue. You may be paying more for rice that can still absorb the same inorganic arsenic from the same soil and water. The label can make you feel as if the concern has already been solved. But the organic label is not even the biggest trap. Because if you think any label matters more than where the rice was grown. Number 2 is the surprise hiding behind the phrase, product of the USA. Number 2, rice grown in the American cotton belt. You buy rice grown in the United States because it feels closer, cleaner, and safer. That is the assumption. Here is what many shoppers never hear. For much of the last century, parts of the American South, including Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, were major cotton growing areas. Some fields were treated for years with arsenic-based pesticides used against crop pests. Arsenic is an element, so it does not simply disappear like an ordinary chemical residue. It can remain in soil for a very long time. Today, a large amount of American rice is grown in regions where cotton was once a major crop. Here is what testing has shown. Consumer Reports found that rice from Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Texas tended to have higher levels of inorganic arsenic than rice from places such as California, India, and Thailand. Here is what that means at your kitchen counter. A bag labeled product of USA may still come from a region where rice can absorb more inorganic arsenic from the soil. And the package may present that origin as a reason to trust it. Why skip it? Because older arsenic contamination in some southern soils is one reason rice from certain states has tested higher than rice from other regions. And a broad product of USA label may not tell you enough about where the rice was actually grown. But here is the part that surprises people most. The number one concern is not always the cheapest bag or the southern bag. It may be the bag you chose on purpose because you were trying to eat better. Number 1, brown rice eaten every day. You buy brown rice because it feels responsible. More fiber, more minerals, more whole grain nutrition. You are trying to do the right thing. That is the trap almost nobody explains. Here is why. Arsenic tends to concentrate in the bran, the outer layer of the rice grain. White rice removes much of that outer layer, while brown rice keeps it. So the same part that gives brown rice more fiber and nutrients is also where more arsenic can collect. On average, brown rice has been found to contain about 80% more inorganic arsenic than white rice of the same type. Here is what that means at the family table. If brown rice shows up 4 or 5 times a week because you believe it is the healthier choice, every serving may add more arsenic exposure than you expected. The healthy image of brown rice can make people overlook the one detail that matters most. Why be careful with it? As an everyday habit, the bran that gives brown rice its nutrition is also where arsenic is more concentrated. Roughly 80% more than white rice of the same type means daily servings can add up over time. I am not telling you to throw away brown rice. I am telling you there are smarter ways to choose and cook it. Next come 2 simple checks you can do tonight. Before we talk about better brands and the cooking method that can reduce arsenic, let us run 2 quick tests in your own kitchen to review the rice you already have. No lab, no special tools. Just you and your pantry. Test 1, the label check. Pick up any bag of rice and look for 3 simple clues. Does it clearly name one specific growing region? If it does not, that silence matters. If it says basmati or jasmine, does it mention aging or a single source? Or is the whole promise built around fragrance and fancy packaging? And for plain rice, does the ingredient list contain anything besides rice? When a bag refuses to tell you where it was grown, it may already be giving you the answer. Test 2, the freshness smell. Open the bag and use your nose. Fresh rice should smell very mild, almost like nothing at all. Maybe a little clean and faintly sweet. If you notice a sharp smell, an oily smell, a crayon-like odor, or a stale cardboard scent, that can be a sign of older oxidized grain. This is especially common with open bulk bins or rice that has sat too long in storage. Your nose is a useful tool here. Pay attention to it. And one calm warning, because the internet is full of rice tests that sound clever but do not help. The iodine test does not prove anything useful here because iodine reacts with starch and rice is full of starch. The cloudy water test is usually just surface starch, which is one reason people rinse rice. And please do not follow advice that tells you to leave cooked rice on the counter for days to see what happens. Cooked rice left at room temperature can allow harmful bacteria to grow, and some toxins may not be destroyed by reheating. Whether rice molds or not tells you nothing about arsenic. Cooked rice should be cooled and refrigerated promptly. The cooking method that does most of the work, this may be the most practical thing in the whole video. And it works with rice you already have at home, no matter the brand. Because inorganic arsenic can move into water during cooking. You can reduce some of it by cooking rice in extra water and draining that water away. Researchers at the University of Sheffield studied a method often called parboil and drain. In their study, it reduced arsenic by more than half in brown rice and by about 74% in white rice, while keeping many nutrients. Here is the simple process in 5 steps. Rinse the uncooked rice until the water looks mostly clear. Bring a separate pot of fresh water to a full boil first. Then add the rice to the boiling water. Let the rice boil in that extra water for about 5 minutes. Drain the rice completely and pour that water down the sink. Do not let it cook off or soak back into the grain, because that discarded water is where some of the arsenic has moved. Draining it is the reason this method works. Add fresh water using your normal cooking amount. Lower the heat. And finish cooking until the rice is tender and the water is absorbed. A few extra minutes and one extra pot can help lower inorganic arsenic in rice you already bought. If you remember one lesson from this video, remember this: there are 4 better choices worth knowing. Now that you know what to watch for and how to cook rice more carefully, here is what belongs in your grocery cart. These 4 choices stand out because of cleaner growing regions, clearer origin labeling, and less reliance on marketing badges. This is not about panic. It is about making a smarter choice. Number 4, California grown white rice. Compared with parts of the southern rice belt where old cotton fields may carry a history of arsenic-based pesticides, California rice regions have a different agricultural history. That matters because soil history can affect how much arsenic rice may absorb. The difference is not magic. It is about where the grain was grown. Here is what testing has found. California white rice has often tested lower in inorganic arsenic than many other white rice samples grown elsewhere in the United States. Consumer testing has reported a meaningful gap across many samples, which is why origin can matter more than the front label. Here is what that means at dinner. You cook the rice the way you normally do, and the meal still feels familiar, soft, mild, comforting rice on the plate. But by choosing a clearer, lower arsenic growing region, you may reduce one hidden concern in a food many families eat every week. Lundberg Family Farms is one of the easiest names to spot in many American grocery stores. It is grown in California's Sacramento Valley, and the company shares heavy metal testing information. But the real point is not the logo. The real point is the origin printed on the bag. Why does it earn a place here? Because the growing region matters. California rice has often tested lower in inorganic arsenic than rice grown in some other parts of the United States. And a brand that shares testing information gives shoppers more than a marketing promise. If you want fragrant restaurant-style long-grain rice without the cheap blend trick, number 3 does it the right way. Number 3, Basmati from India or Pakistan. True Basmati comes from traditional growing regions in India and Pakistan, supported by water systems connected to the Himalayan region. And it is known for a slow aging process that improves the way it cooks. Authentic Basmati is often aged before it reaches the store. And that is one reason it behaves differently in the pot. Here is what testing has shown. White Basmati from India and Pakistan has often been found to contain lower inorganic arsenic than many other rice types on the market. You are not only buying fragrance, you may also be choosing one of the lower arsenic white rice options available. Here is what that means at dinner. The aroma does not disappear like a weak imitation blend because it comes from the grain itself. It grows warmer as the rice cooks. The grains become longer and stay separate, the way good basmati should. Next to chicken, vegetables, fish, or a simple stew, it tastes clean and distinct instead of turning into soft starch. Real origin, real aging, and a lower arsenic profile. The bag should help confirm those details if you read it closely. Why does it earn the spot? It can offer lower arsenic than many common rice choices, a natural aging process that creates separate grains and trusted growing regions known for real basmati production. If you want a farming method that works on the arsenic issue from the beginning, number 2 is where the future of cleaner rice may be headed. Number 2, Lotus Foods and rice grown using SRI methods. Remember why rice can be a concern in the first place. Flooded fields can create soil conditions that allow arsenic to move more easily into the plant. So some farmers use growing methods that avoid keeping fields flooded all the time. They alternate wet and dry periods instead, which can make the soil less favorable for arsenic uptake. The formal name is the System of Rice Intensification, often called SRI. You may not see a bag that says alternate wet and dry on the shelf. So here is what to look for. Look for Lotus Foods by name or packaging that mentions SRI, water-saving farming, or rice grown with less water. That is the clue in the grocery aisle. Less constant standing water can mean less arsenic moving into the crop, while also using much less water. It gives you a clean-tasting grain grown by farmers trying to address the root of the problem, not just fix it later in the kitchen. Every bag becomes a small vote for a more transparent rice industry. Why does it earn the spot? Alternating wet and dry growing methods can reduce arsenic uptake. They use less water, and with brands like Lotus Foods, the sourcing is often easier to trace. And if you love brown rice and do not want to give up the nutrition, number one gives you a smarter way forward. Number one, brown basmati from California, India, or Pakistan. This is the bag that changes the story. Everyday brown rice was the biggest concern because the brand that carries much of the fiber and nutrients is also where more arsenic can collect. Brown basmati from California, India, or Pakistan keeps the fiber, minerals, and B vitamins many people want from brown rice, while coming from regions that have often tested lower for inorganic arsenic. Here is what testing has shown. Brown basmati from these areas has been reported to contain less inorganic arsenic than many other brown rice options. Then add the right cooking method. Rinse, parboil, drain, add fresh water, and finish cooking. That extra step can reduce more of the arsenic left in the grain. Lower arsenic origin plus the right cooking technique gives you one of the smarter brown rice bowls you can make at home. Here is what that means at the family table. You still get the nutrition you wanted. The hearty bite of real brown basmati, and a lower arsenic load in two ways. First, from choosing a better growing region. Then, from using the right cooking method. You have taken one of the riskiest everyday rice habits and turned it into a smarter bowl. That is not giving something up. That is a quiet win you can serve on any weeknight. Why does it earn the top spot? It gives you the brown rice nutrition you were looking for. It has been reported lower in arsenic than many other brown rice choices. And when you pair it with parboil and drain, it becomes one of the smartest rice bowls you can make in your kitchen. How to protect yourself. Starting tonight. Check your pantry. Cheap store brand rice, flavored packets, open bulk bin rice, or any bag that does not clearly name where it was grown should get a closer look. Choose bags with a clear origin and lean toward California, India, or Pakistan when possible. Do not let the word organic make the decision for you. Rotate in other grains too. Quinoa, barley, fajo, and oats can help add variety and reduce relying on rice every day. And when you do cook rice, use the parboil and drain method no matter what the bag says. None of this requires panic. It only takes reading the label and changing the way you cook one pot. Conclusion. From old cotton belt soil to the healthy image of brown rice to the organic label that does not solve every problem. We have uncovered what can hide inside one of the most common staples in the American pantry. One bag of rice can be very different from the bag sitting beside it. And the label does not always make that difference easy to see, but here is what changed today. You are no longer shopping blind in the rice aisle. You understand the key terms now: inorganic arsenic, Cotton belt, soil, the brand trap, parboil, and drain. You know how to read the bag, how to question the label, and how to use one cooking method that can reduce the concern. You are not just buying rice anymore. You are checking it like a careful shopper protecting your own kitchen. If this helped you see the rice aisle differently, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Which one was sitting in your pantry? Tell us in the comments and share this with someone cooking rice for their family this week.